Oh, baby. The day has arrived and the NHL playoffs are upon us officially. We're breaking down Monday's 4 series, predictions, games, how many, odds, and everything you need to know about every single series on Monday night. The playoffs are here, baby. Let's get right to it.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to your source for fantasy hockey news and degenerate gambling breakdowns. It's the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast, here for our second full playoff editions of breakdowns. Steele and I are doing it for all the fantasy fanatics out there, and thank you for making us your first listen every single day. Much love for the support again, Steele. Feel pretty grateful and proud to be back for another playoff rounds breakdown. We're starting with Monday's series. Islanders, Carolina, Florida, Boston, Minnie, Dallas, LA, Edmonton, and we'll break down the other 4 on Tuesday's episodes. But we got predictions, how many games, we got odds, we got key factors. We already did our X factors. But oh, baby, today's episode is brought to you by HelloFresh. You know we like to talk about our friends at HelloFresh. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. That's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Go to HelloFresh.com/NHL60 and use code NHL60 for 60% off plus free shipping. So, now that we got the HelloFresh plug out of the way, I got to get to all the fresh takes because, Steele, you and I come on this show and we're always fired up. I hope that's what our listeners appreciate a little bit about what we do. But honestly, dude, I cannot wait for the action tonight. I'm foaming at the mouth. I want to watch every single second of every single game.
Yep.
But that's what we're going to try and do today. Break down a little bit of what you're going to see in all these series and our predictions. I want you to just take it away because we got these 4 series, like I alluded to. We're going to have some big-time bets at the end of the show as well. We're here Monday through Friday, all throughout the playoffs. What series do you want to talk about? Take it away, my friend.
I'm so excited for the playoffs here. I can't wait for all the matchups.
Got the jersey
later. Got the jersey on. Let's go, Minnesota, baby. Making sure I'm tuning in for that Dallas Stars, Minnesota Wild game 1 later today. But let's start with the first game that takes place to start off the NHL postseason. Carolina Hurricanes taking on the New York Islanders in game 1 in Carolina. And for me, I think you already know where I'm going with my answer and who's winning this first round series. I truly believe that the Carolina Hurricanes are in for an upset defeat. I think the Islanders are going to upset the Carolina Hurricanes in this first round. And I understand it. Everything should tell you to go with the favorite in Carolina. They've beat the New York Islanders 8 out of the last 10 times in the regular season. In the one matchup they faced off in the postseason, the Hurricanes won all 4 games. They swept the Islanders back in 2019. So everything points to the Hurricanes winning this series. But I think losing Andrei Svechnikov in the playoffs is going to hurt a lot more than everyone thinks. And I understand they still have Sebastian Aho, Martin Necas, Brent Burns, but Andrei Svechnikov, again, I've said this so many times, brings that physical aspect as a superstar to the Hurricanes lineup. And without him, I really do think it's going to hurt the Hurricanes. Plus, I don't have any faith whatsoever in guys like Jesse Puljujarvi, Jesper Kotkaniemi. Those are the type of players I wouldn't trust on the ice for too long, which puts a lot of pressure on those Hurricanes top guys in Necas and Aho. And just the cream of the crop in this series for me, the Islanders getting Matthew Barzal back in the lineup is
so
absolutely huge. Islanders have the better tandem, in my opinion, in Ilya Sorokin and Semyon Varlamov. I like the Islanders' bottom 6 veterans. I know they know how to do their job and they know what they bring to the table. Guys like Cal Clutterbuck and Matt Martin as well. Those type of guys who bring the physical aspect. For me, I've got the New York Islanders in 6, and for the New York Islanders to win in 6 games at plus 650 right now.
Plus 650. Thank you for having those odds ready, Steele. I appreciate these numbers, even though, sometimes for me, a little spotty with those numbers.
Yeah.
I am so downright excited for almost every single series. I think I'm more so for some of these Eastern Conference series
Yeah.
because I think they're going to be a little bit more closely contested. But that's not to say there's going to be some battles in the West. Anyway, I just got to get that off my chest before I say it every single time for every single series. This one, Steele. Thought about this long and hard. This was one of the
Yeah.
tougher ones for me, honestly. I think looking at the other three we're talking about today, I could almost come out with a more decisive decision right off the bat. It comes down to Sorokin for me, seriously. This guy is just so good. And I sent you that little text about Biz Nasty and Whitney talking on Chicklets today about how they think Sorokin is the best goalie in New York. I don't know, but he's going to get a chance to prove it against a good Carolina team. Sorokin, top 5 in goals against, 3rd in save percentage, and led the league with 6 shutouts. He is the definition to me of a goalie that can steal a series.
Yeah.
And I think with this now going to be such a defense first, tight checking, low scoring. By the way, we might as well hammer the under in every single game and just go from there, Steele. I think this one's going to be close. And I think it's going 7 games. And I'm going to give the edge to the better goaltender. And I think a team that now has that injection of Matt Barzal, where on the other side, you're missing key pieces. I'm just going to go with the Islanders in a very, very close series. 7
I think
games.
it will be close as well. And you know, you made the comment to me before we even hopped on here that it might be a little bit of a snooze fest because of how low scoring these games could be. But to me, those are the type of games I absolutely love in the postseason. Physical, fast paced, always go, go, go. Some great goaltending as well. So even if it's a low scoring game, but if it's fast paced and physical, I absolutely love
prototypical postseason hockey.
Prototypical postseason hockey, of course. But yeah, so I've got the Islanders in 6. You've got the Islanders in 7. So we're off to the same. We're all on the same page at the very start here. Let's go to the Boston Bruins and the Florida Panthers, the next team to play in line Monday night.
Yes, sir.
I think this one to me is also fairly obvious. I'm not going to go in crazy depth about this. I don't think the Bruins will win the Stanley Cup, but they will beat the Florida Panthers in round 1. They're going to have outstanding goaltending from Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman, obviously Ullmark being the number 1 guy. They've got more reliable defensemen. Dmitry Orlov has been incredible since they traded for him as well. And offensively, just a well-orchestrated machine that just works in a full unison and as a full unit. So I think Florida, they might win a couple of games, but they're going to let their emotions get the best of them. And I think guys like Ryan Lomberg, even Matthew Tkachuk, a few of those other guys on the bottom 6 could get a little bit gritty and out of control, some of the type of things that Brad Marchand can do as well. But I think the emotional side of things for Florida will get the best of them. However, Boston Bruins will win this series. I could see it in 5 games, but I'm going in 6.
So here's my thing that I'm not even going to disagree at all. Like the Bruins have just been so dominant. Like there's going to be some people, I'm sure, over the next 48 hours saying they're taking the Florida Panthers for the odd, for whatever. There's going to be some of those people, but and I usually like to get behind a good odds deal. You know me. This just doesn't make sense to me other than 7 combined postseason games for Swayman and Ullmark. If this tandem gets rattled, and I think they have so good options and defense in front of them that I just don't see it, especially I think you made the comment about the leadership on this team, right? Like they're not going to be phased. They've been through, their battle tested up front. I think there's enough leadership in the room to calm down these young goalies if they do get rattled. But that's just something I want to see off the jump because I think the Florida Panthers they're playing with house money, right? That's the other caveat here. All the pressure is on the Boston Bruins. Florida Panthers are playing with house money, and that caveat of 7 games combined for Swayman and Ullmark, I got the Bruins in 6. I think the Panthers get 2 games. I was going to say Bruins in 5. I don't know. I think the Panthers are going to make a little game of it. And I think if they have any chance of winning this series, they got to take game 1.
I'm there right with you. I've got the Bruins in 6 games as well, just to let everyone know the odds as of right now. If you were to take the Panthers at all, Panthers in 6 plus 850, Panthers in 7 plus 800. And then you go to the Bruins side of things. Bruins in 5 is actually plus 260, and Bruins in 6 is plus 375. So Bruins in 6 is a great odd right there because I think the Florida Panthers are capable enough of winning 2 games.
It's just interesting because to me, plus 800 for them to, or plus 850, I think you said, for them to take it in 6 games. I thought that would be like a much juicier odd. That's a pretty bold prediction if you take the Panthers in 6. So anyway, that's some of those interesting numbers. Steele's going to keep bringing those fire numbers for the playoff winners. We got 2 more series to break down today. Plus we got bets coming up. We got to pay these bills. Today's episode is brought to you by AG1 from Athletic Greens. Steele and I love this stuff at breakfast, in a smoothie, before or after the gym. 1 delicious scoop of AG1, you get 75 high-quality vitamins and minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens. I don't even really know what they are, but they're good for you. And AG1, a little scoop every day, contains less than 1 gram of sugar, no GMOs. Just like Steele hates, no nasty chemicals, no need for a million different pills to support your mental clarity, alertness, overall health, and it helps you stay focused at work. It helps you with a little bit of everything in your health regime, and it costs less than $3 a day, cheaper than your cold brew habit, Steele, and it's cheaper than getting all those different supplements yourself. Invest in an all-in-one nutritional superfood with AG1 from Athletic Greens, and right now you can reclaim your health and arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop in water every day. That's all you need. No need for a million different pills. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you 1 free year of supply of immune supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do, visit athleticgreens.com/NHL network. That is athleticgreens.com/NHL network to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance.
And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Make sure you're tuning in the rest of the week as Flip and I've got the rest of our first round predictions for the rest of the matchups on Tuesday night, as well the rest of our playoff predictions, who we've got in the Stanley Cup Finals and who we've got winning the Stanley Cup this season as well. So make sure you're not missing out. Listen on YouTube and your favorite podcast platform. We appreciate all the love, all the support. Let's get to the next round, the round that I am second most excited for. Obviously, most excited for the Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning. But the Minnesota Wild taking on the Dallas Stars. I couldn't be more excited right now. I love watching Minnesota playoff hockey.
Yeah,
and
you do.
To me, I think this is actually going to be a very surprising first round series, and there's going to be a lot to love between the Stars and Wild in this matchup. We're in store for some unbelievable goaltending. You said it yourself. You sent that to me earlier today, where it looks like the Minnesota Wild are moving forward with a little bit of a tandem, going with a 1-2 combo of Philip Gustafsson and Marc-Andre Fleury. So we're going to get some unbelievable goaltending. Both teams top 5 in goals against this season. The Dallas Stars, they do have a stronger special teams unit, both better on the power play and the penalty kill.
Good point.
So the Wild are going to have to beware about some sloppy penalties against this Dallas Stars team. But offensively and defensively, I think they both match up very evenly on the ice. A top line filled with stars, a supporting cast of depth players that can help on both ends of the ice, and a few enforcers in the bottom 6 that can get things going physically. Like I said, I think this is going to be a very close series. I think every game could potentially go into overtime. And with that being said, I'm going with the green over here. Minnesota Wild win this series in 6 games.
Whoa, 6 games. First of all, it's not like a bold prediction at all, for sure. This series just screams 7 games to me. And when I look at these two teams on paper, even just their head-to-head record over the last 10, 6-4 for Minnie head-to-head, it's just very close. And, even when so the last game they played 2-1. You know what I'm saying, Steele? Lots of low-scoring, close games. I think that's what we're in store for here, and I think we're in store for a real battle. And the reason why I'm going to tip my hand to the Dallas Stars here in 7 is my prediction. I went back and forth on this one again, and right after the Islanders-Carolina series, this was the second toughest for me to predict in this, Monday night's action. Man, just hear me out for a sec, because I know you're Minnesota, and that's fair. The Minnesota Wild, for me, needed to hold down that home ice advantage. if the shoe was on the other foot and you flipped it around here and we were starting this one, is it XL Arena, XL Energy Center, something like that in Minnesota, something like that. This is a different situation for me because I think that raucous crowd, no disrespect to Dallas Stars fans, that was the edge. I think I did mention it a few weeks ago that that was important for me for this Wild team. And the question marks for me, I don't know how many true tandems in playoff history have ever actually panned out. And I think I like the option of running Gustafsson out first and then maybe let Fleury, the veteran, come in and stabilize things if it doesn't work out. Gustafsson has been one of the best underrated stories this season. So let me leave it at this. Dallas gets home ice. Dallas takes a very close series that, in my opinion, is a coin flip. And it's so close that I wouldn't even want to bet on the outcome of the series, Steele. But my prediction is Dallas in 7.
And I can't even disagree with any of those statements you just made for the Dallas Stars because all of it's true as well. This could easily go 7 games. And to me, I think one of the key things for the Dallas Stars moving forward has to be Jake Ottinger and his play. I already talked about that third line of Max Domi and Mason Marchment. I think I agree with you wholeheartedly with this series. It's going to be very surprising, very physical, very evenly matched up.
Yes.
I do think it's going to be some low scoring games every single game as well. But I think the Minnesota Wild are going to sneak out a few wins on the road. So I can't disagree with you, but I'm going with the Minnesota Wild in 6. Just to get up the odds right now, Minnesota Wild to win in 6 games, that is plus 500. The Dallas Stars in 7 is plus 425. So some great odds right there on both sides.
Yeah.
And make sure you're parlaying all 8 of these first round matchups together because you never know what can happen. I'll tell you one of my parlays at the end of this episode as well. Because if you've got some gut feelings, you've done some research, you look at the matchups moving forward, make some parlays, and you'll see some crazy odds go up in that first round series. Before we get to the big time bets of Monday night, let's wrap up this episode with the last matchup on Monday night. LA Kings, Los Angeles taking on the Edmonton Oilers. Flip, I'll throw it over to you because I know you're very excited for this matchup. Who do you've gotten and how many games?
Well, let me just precursor this conversation with this. A couple weeks ago, won a few bucks, bet MGM, no offense to FanDuel, I'm a little bit all over the place. The odd for the Edmonton Oilers was plus 1,200. So I chucked a 40 piece on it because I had a little bit extra in the account. Decent bet. That odd is now dropped all the way down to plus 800 Steele in a matter of days. Does that mean anything in the long run? Maybe not. But who knows a lot about hockey and betting? Las Vegas. So if you're going to trust anybody, you trust Vegas odds makers just in terms of where things are starting to point. And for me, I think you're about to see something special from Connor McDavid. And now all of a sudden, the team is playing with his confidence. He has reinvigorated this team top to bottom and some good moves from Ken Holland. And I think perhaps Mateus Ekholm is just fit like a glove on that blue line Steele. And I'm going to get to my prediction in a sec, but I got to hit you with perhaps the most important point. Stuart Skinner set the record for rookie wins by a goalie in Edmonton history. 29, 14, and 5 this season with a .913 save percentage in 50 games. And let me bring up one more window here because the next stat, perhaps most impressive, when they needed him the most down the stretch, trying to win that division, 6-0-0, only allowing 8 goals over that stretch and a .946 save percentage and a shutout. They're playing with confidence. Stuart Skinner gets 1 or 2 wins under his belt. The sky's the limit for this team, Steele. Oilers in 5.
Oilers in 5. Okay, that one actually surprises me a little bit. I didn't think you'd do Oilers in 5.
I like the Kings. And I'm not trying to disrespect because Deneau up the middle and Kopitar, like you mentioned, 2 very good defensive centermen who are going to cause trouble for that mix. Hyman, Kane. People are forgetting about Kane. Just career highs from everyone. I think this Oilers team is going to steamroll, but I thought that in the bubble against Chicago, and Chicago almost blew the doors off them. So let's just see what happens. Little bit of a bolder prediction, Oilers in 5.
It is a little bit of a bolder prediction because I was caught in the middle of picking 6 or 7. I know a lot of people think this is going to 7 games.
It did last year,
like it did last year. But for me, I've got the Edmonton Oilers in 6. Looking at both teams, just overall aspect of the game. Both teams very strong on the power play. Obviously, the Oilers having the best power play at 32%, Kings at 25.3%. Both teams have very weak penalty kills, though, 20th and 24th in the league. But the thing that sets the Oilers apart is how aggressive they are on the penalty kill. They have 18 shorthanded goals this season, which should come in handy come the first round of the playoffs.
And how good they are on the power play as well.
Good on the power play. They're the very aggressive on the PK, best in the league. So I think when you put into the fact that they're better on the power play, better on the PK, 5-on-5, they've got McDavid and Draisaitl that are just too overwhelming. I've got the Edmonton Oilers in 6, Oilers in 5.
Yes, sir.
Oilers in 5 is plus 320, actually. And
That's
Oilers
it.
in 6 is plus 360. Yeah, so a lot of people, I guess.
There you go. Vegas again.
Vegas again with those odds. Look, like I said, make sure you're creating some parlays for the first round matchups. I've got an 8-leg parlay going right now. I put $1 on. $1. Guess how much $1 pays out on this 8-leg parlay?
$4.50.
Pays $560,000. Absolutely
incredible. $500K?
$560,000.
So hold on. If you hit that, you're breaking men's off for the 10-piece, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know,
just because, co-host special. But okay. Anyway, speaking of which, why don't you take us to break and let's get to our game 1 bets for Monday night.
Game 1 bets for Monday night. Big time bets. That's what you're waiting for. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Don't forget, we are free and available on your favorite podcast platform, including YouTube. So make sure you hit the subscribe, hit the follow button. We appreciate all the love. We are fired up right now for the NHL postseason, baby. Stanley Cup. Who will lift that glorious, glorious trophy at the end of the postseason? Let's get to game 1, though. Big time bets on Monday night. Flip, I'll throw it over to you because I've been talking a lot this episode. Okay. What is your first pick of the night?
I like that. Steele, I'm looking at the Florida Panthers Boston Bruins situation. By the way, sir. Patrice Bergeron is a game-time decision dealing with a illness of some kind. This is one of the things that I said, though. Health to the key veteran pieces on the Boston Bruins. And I know it's game 1, and I know it's just an illness, and he's most likely going to play, and he could be fine. But this is what starts to happen, the chinks in the armor, when you have such big expectations, franchise records, historic league records. Florida has nothing to lose. But what I think is going to really decide this series, and maybe it's a cop-out answer, I like to say that, Steele, in the playoffs. It's going to be, can Florida get any kind of goaltending? And I think their defense is going to need to set the tone early. And I think we're going to see a very low-scoring game. And I know that might be a bold take because it's Florida and Boston. But give me the under 6.5. And I went back and forth, honestly, because I could see this going over as well. But it's the first game of the postseason, and I think you're going to see at least 2 of the 4 games tonight stay under the number. And I know this might just be more of a gut pick, but I think the Florida Panthers need to set the tone. And I think the expectations on the Bruins might, choke them back a little bit game 1. Watch Pasternak score 4 in the second period and just burn this totally. Florida, Boston, give me the under 6.5. This is just one of those gut picks for me.
Yeah, I didn't think you were going to be starting there. I'm staying away from
It's a tough one, yeah.
It's a very tough one to start day 1 of the postseason with overs and unders. I had to stay away from the over and under in this game because I was right there with you. I was kind of I was on the fence going back and forth what I thought it would be. Couldn't make a decision, so I stayed away. I pulled off it. My first pick of the night, which I think this would probably be an under game, I'm taking the Islanders on the money line against the Carolina Hurricanes. I think they're going to come out and shock the Hurricanes on the road. I think the Islanders leave Carolina with 1-1 after 2 games. So I think they steal the first game and lose the second. But I'm going Islanders on the money line against the Hurricanes. And then for that Boston Bruins game, I'm going to take the Bruins on the money line against the Florida Panthers. Even if they are without Patrice Bergeron, I still think with the Panthers going to TD guarding, it's going to be too overwhelming. The crowd's going to be going nuts. I've got Bruins on the money line.
Bruins on the money line right now. I'm seeing -210, -215. That might be a parlay special, not a whole ton of
Yeah.
juice. Yeah, it's a tough. Is a tough game steal for me in the first because I think that the Florida Panthers have any shot, like I said, to win that series or make noise. They got to take game one. You mentioned the Islanders. I like the odd. I like the angle. They are 2-13 in their last 15 games against Carolina. Playoffs are a different beast. Let's see what happens. Before I get to my lock of the night, I think I alluded a little bit to how good Evander Kane was last
Yeah.
postseason. And against the LA Kings in specific, and I checked the numbers in 7 games, my man had 7 goals, 2 assists, 16 PIMs, 34 shots on net, and just feasted on the LA Kings. And I think he could be a major reason why this team goes all the way if they do. And I kind of like the Oilers to go all the way to the final. We'll get to more serious projections. We'll get to our brackets later in the week. Maybe have a special guest coming up. Evander Kane, anytime goal, good odd. Give me a good start for Kane. I think the whole balanced attack of the Oilers is going to need to roll if they roll in the series like I expect them to.
I love that pick a lot, actually, for the
Thank
lock
you.
of the night. I think Connor McDavid is going
Not
to
the
be
lock
the
of the
one to
night.
set
Lock of
him
the night's
up.
coming up.
Lock of the night's coming up, but I still like that pick. My lock of the
Thank
night is the Oilers on the money line against the LA Kings. Again, I just think it's going to be too much to handle in game one at home ice for the LA Kings. And I also think this could be a very low scoring game as well. So if you're feeling the under 6.5, take the under in this game. But I'm staying safe for day one and game one. I've got Islanders money line, Bruins money line, and Oilers money line is my lock of the night.
So yeah, I might actually lean to the one over that I like because my lock of the night is another under, and it's Minnesota at Dallas. I think this is going to be a real close one. I see 3-2,
Yep.
4-2 final. So under 6.5 in Minnesota, Dallas. You're gonna have to tease that up because Vegas has it at 5.5. So tease that up to 6.5 where I feel more comfortable. 3-2 final, 4-2 final with the empty netter is what I'm seeing here. Might actually wager on that final total as well. The last 3 games between these two teams, Central Division foes, under the number 2-1, 4-1, and 4-1. I think that's what you're going to see again. My lock of the night, under 6.5 in this Minnesota Dallas game. Steele, the playoffs are here, baby. Let's go.
Another one of those series where you could practically take the under in every single game. Like I said, it could probably go to overtime in every single game of that Wild and Stars first round matchup. Make sure you're tuning in all week for the rest of our playoff matchup predictions, our playoff brackets as well, who we will have in the Stanley Cup Finals, who we have winning the Stanley Cup. Again, thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast your first listen every single day. Again, make sure you're tuning in the rest of the week. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's episode with Flip and I. Have a great day. Good luck with all your bets out there. Good luck to your favorite teams as well in the postseason. And we shall see you back here again tomorrow.
Peace.